Ethan Carter drives down a deserted dirt road deep into the forest. The trees on either side are twisted and bare, their branches stretching like skeletal fingers into the darkening sky. Shadows flicker between the trunks as the sun disappears behind the hills. He finally reaches a small clearing and stops the car. The silence is overwhelming. No birds, no wind, just the low hum of the engine as he turns it off. He steps out, grabbing his backpack and a flashlight before heading into the dense woods. The ground is uneven, covered in dead leaves and gnarled roots. Every step echoes unnaturally loud in the stillness. As he moves further in, he notices strange markings carved into the bark of the trees. Circles, crosses, symbols he doesn't recognize. He reaches a suitable spot and begins setting up his tent. His hands move automatically, but his mind lingers on the eerie carvings. Who put them there? And why? The thought makes his stomach tighten, but he shakes it off. As night falls, he lights a small campfire. The flames dance, casting flickering shadows on the surrounding trees. That's when he hears it. A faint whisper, just beyond the fire's glow. A soft, breathy murmur, like a voice carried on the wind. He freezes, his eyes scanning the darkness. "Hello?" he calls out, but there is no response. Just silence. And then, the whispering starts again. This time it sounds closer. Moving cautiously, he picks up his flashlight and shines it toward the trees. Nothing. Just endless blackness between the trunks. Then, just as he's about to turn back, something catches his eye. A small object hanging from a low branch. He steps forward and reaches for it. It's a crude amulet made of bones tied together with twine. As soon as his fingers touch it, a sudden gust of cold wind rushes through the trees, making the fire flicker violently, as full as Farfallium leaves. Ethan, a branch snaps behind him. He spins around, heart pounding. His breath catches in his throat. He waits, listening. But the forest is still once more. Slowly, he exhales, convincing himself it was just an animal. He turns back toward the fire, only to realize that the whispers haven't stopped. Back at the tent, Ethan tries to calm himself. He takes a deep breath, convincing himself that the whispers were just the wind through the trees. But deep down, he knows something is wrong. The fire burns low, casting flickering shadows around the camp. Suddenly, a sharp noise breaks the silence. The sound of something moving through the dry leaves very close. He quickly sits up, grabbing the flashlight. He scans the area but sees nothing beyond the twisted trees. The sound stops. Absolute silence. Ethan shivers. Something is there. He picks up the camera and starts recording, slowly turning it around. Through the screen he sees shadows moving between the trees, but when he looks directly, there's nothing. He blinks, confused, looks back at the screen. The shadows are still there, and they seem to be getting closer. Then, a chilling sound echoes through the forest, a long whisper coming from all directions at once. The sound grows louder, as if dozens of voices are speaking together. The flashlight flickers and goes out. The fire dies suddenly. In the darkness, Ethan can barely see. The only glow comes from the camera screen trembling in his hands. He turns the camera on himself and whispers, "If anyone finds this, please get out of here." His own face looks pale and distorted on the recording. In the next instant, the camera captures something behind him, a tall figure, standing in the darkness. Ethan feels a chill running up his spine before he even turns around. He spins around quickly, but the figure is gone. His heart pounds in his chest, but now he knows for sure he is not alone. Ethan runs through the dark forest, his breath heavy, his heart pounding. The whispers grow louder behind him. Suddenly, he sees a faint light ahead. A way out? He pushes forward, crashing through the trees. He stumbles onto an empty road. Silence. No trees moving, no whispers. He made it. Breathing heavily, he looks back at the dark forest. Nothing follows him. He laughs in relief. He pulls out his phone. No signal. He sighs and starts. walking down the road. A few minutes later, he sees something on the ground. His own backpack. Confused, he turns around. The road. It looks exactly like the forest. His breath quickens. He walks faster. The trees seem closer. He runs, but the road vanishes beneath his feet. He is back in the forest. The whispers return, soft and mocking. Ethan screams. The camera, lying abandoned on the forest floor, records the last scene. The road fading away, swallowed by the trees.